go. Perfect. Okay, so if you refresh here, you'll see that we are live right now. If you check this out, this is our video currently. I'm going to keep this open so that there you go. Perfect. I'm going to keep this open, and I'm going to be watching for any of you guys following on YouTube. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in as well. I'm going to be checking. This is a live session, right? The reason why we do this live is so you guys can ask questions and we can be more interactive. So if you do have any questions, if you're on Zoom, feel free to unmute your microphone and you guys can just speak and ask a question. Don't feel like you need to ask that. You just unmute, go right for it. If you are on YouTube or also if you're on Zoom, you could type in to the chat. I'll be checking it to see that if you have any questions or anything like that. All right. Okay, I see Raymond Collins says, hello, Raymond. How's it going? Perfect. Okay, all right, so let's get this kicked off. And again, also, if you guys are not following us on YouTube, make sure that you're following us on YouTube and also a bunch of our other social media. So we do post a lot of free content, a lot of stuff that you'll find very interesting, I'm sure, and stuff that can like help you out with your investing, stuff like that. So make sure that you follow us on YouTube or any of our other social media channels because we do post a lot of free stuff. All right, cool. So let's get started. So today what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about how to launch your first algorithm. We're specifically going to be using Render for this one. We work with two different things. We can launch your algorithms, Replit and Render. We recommend Render. That's what this is all about. I'll explain to you if you don't understand what that means. I'll explain to you in a little bit exactly what that means and how we're going to be using it. Before we get started, quick disclaimer, we will be talking about a bunch of things related to investing. So please make sure you read the disclaimer. Always speak to your financial advisor, et cetera, et cetera. Please read it over. Right. And here's our agenda for today. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about our algorithms. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we have. I think you're going to find it very interesting. We'll talk about one of the brokers that we're using today. We're going to be using Alpaca today, but that doesn't mean you can't use other brokers. We do connect to a bunch of different brokers, Interactive Brokers, Tradier, Coinbase, KuCoin, a bunch of different crypto brokers. There's a lot that we connect to. So if you want to use a different broker, I'll mention that briefly when we talk about Alpaca and go through that. But we do use Alpaca because they are a fantastic broker. They have zero commission trading for stocks, also zero commission trading for options. We don't currently use them yet for options because they don't support level 3 options trading yet, but I just got a word from their support that will be added within Q1 of 2025. So very shortly, we'll be able to use Alpaca for options trading as well. Then we're going to talk about GitHub. That's where we host all of our algorithms, and you'll see basically how that works. We'll also talk about Render, which is where the algorithm is going to actually run on. It's kind of like AWS. We'll get more into that in a little bit. And then we'll talk about next steps. All right. So some notes before we start. If you want to see our plans, they are available at lumiwealth.com. Let me share the website with you here. There's our website. All right. Okay. We'll dive into that later on. We'll tell you more about the plans at the end. Make sure that you stay into the end. We're going to be giving out a discount code. So if you want to save a bit of money, make sure you stick around to the end. And then also let me share the link to this presentation here. So let me share that also to YouTube as well. There we go. Okay. So YouTube, Facebook, all you guys have that link now as well. Okay, cool. Perfect. So let's talk about our algorithms. Let me show you a few of the algorithms that we have. We have a lot. Here's a nice little preview. We have a bunch in GitHub here. Basically, if you sign up to our Pro or All Access plan, you're going to get all of these algorithms. There's a lot in here. One that we were working on last night, for example, is the Solana Sniper Bot. This thing is really, really interesting. Basically, it trades like meme coins on Pump.fun. Really, really interesting. Actually made, if you watch our stuff, I made $100 live last night trading this stuff, which is pretty cool. Just actually trading it live during our classes. We have sessions every Tuesday where we basically create new algorithms. That's where all this stuff comes from. And that's actually a fantastic thing because it allows our whole community to basically build algorithms together. So the way that works is you'll join us live on Tuesdays. We do open houses about once a month. And when you join us, you'll see that basically people have a bunch of different ideas. A lot of different people join in and say, hey, what if we built a sniper bot? Or hey, what if we built a bot that trades futures? Is another one that we talked about recently. What if we built a bot that trades whatever it is that you have in mind? You can actually join us on Tuesdays, bring up your idea, and we can build it live during that Tuesday session. So this is one of those ones that we're working on yesterday, and we actually made some money live yesterday during this session. But then we also have a bunch of other ones in here. We have a new one, range. We call it the range breakout captain backtest. This is one that we just started running. I think it's gonna be very cool. And any of these strategies, you can basically go into it. You'll see a backtest folder, and you can actually see how the backtest performs. So, for example, there's a new one that we just added. It's a 53% average annual return when we backtested it with a pretty modest drawdown. When you compare it to the stock market, it does very well. Basically, when you join our pro plan, you get access to all these different algorithms that we have, and we give you a nice breakdown of our research behind it, how the back testing worked out, and it's actually very easy to run them, which I'll show you how to do today. Right? But just know that we have lots and lots and lots of different algorithms in here. I'm going to talk about a couple of them today. There's no way that I could go through all of them. It will take us all day to go through all of them. But if you get our pro plan or all access plan, you will get access to all these different algorithms that you can run yourself and see some pretty cool results. All right, cool. So let's go in and highlight a few of them. Let me tell you about a couple of the ones that I'm more interested in, that I've been running myself personally, and ones that I think will get your attention, or at least make you kind of understand better what we're about. So let's start off with one that a lot of people talk about quite often. If you ever on Twitter, X, a lot of people talk about this, how Nancy Pelosi is just a fantastic stock picker. It makes you wonder why, right? If you think about it, Congress members actually have a pretty strong leg up for stock picking compared to the rest of us, because they have a lot of insider information. If you're sitting in Congress, kind of the new stuff that Microsoft's working on, that Intel's working on, that AMD, whatever. All these different companies are going to be lobbying you all the time and saying, we're working on this new project, we want to build this. So these Congress members definitely get a lot of insider information. But on top of that, if you're a Congress member and you own if you own some sort of stock in, NVIDIA, Intel, whatever, you better believe that they're most likely passing laws that are favorable to the things that they own in their stock portfolio. So they're insiders, but then also they're the ones that pass laws. So, they're probably picking, being a little bit biased towards the things that they own in their portfolio, right? So how does this work, right? So basically, we built out a bot that follows Nancy Pelosi. And all this stuff is available. If you don't know, you can actually find Congress trading through a bunch of different websites. So, for example, here's one, Capital Trades. Okay, if you go into here, you can actually see what politician is buying what stock or selling what stock, and you can kind of go through all of it, right? And you can come up with an assumption of what they own. So, for example, this guy Morgan McGarvey, he sold some Tesla, right, for his spouse. He also bought some Digital World Acquisition Corp, whatever the heck that is. That's all Morgan McGarvey. This is Jared Moskowitz. He sold some A.O. Smith Corp, bought Accenture, bought Alphabet, bought Amazon, bought Analog Devices Inc. It makes you wonder, do these guys know something that we don't, right? Why are they buying the stocks? Why did Jared Moskowitz, which is a Democrat from Florida, why did he buy this company, Analog Devices Inc.? Right? Does he know something that we don't know? Well, we put it to the test. We built a bot that basically follows Nancy Pelosi. We're able to get all of her trades going back quite a few years. And this is what we got, right? When we built this bot. Basically, we'll look at all of her trades and say, okay, well, if you bought this and sold this, you probably still own this. So we're able to build a portfolio of what she owns. And when we back tested it, so meaning we simulated this going back till 2019, how would this portfolio have done? It did very, very well, not surprisingly. Right. So here is in blue, the bot that we built, the Nancy Pelosi following bot. And then in yellow is the S&P 500. You can see here, first of all, Nancy Pelosi kicked the S&P 500's butt, even though it did very well recently. She did a heck of a lot better. Specifically, she was doing about 22% average annual return per year. This is just for stock. She actually trades options as well, which we have another version of this bot that actually trades options. But yeah, so she got 22% average annual return per year through this bot, right? Whereas the S&P 500 did, I think, somewhere around 12 or 15% a year. So one heck of an outperformance, doing quite well for Nancy Pelosi there. No wonder she's so rich. It makes a lot of sense. The way that she's been investing has actually made her quite a bit of money. So if you wanted that, right, let's say if you wanted to actually run this algorithm today, you could do that. If you're a member of, I see a couple of you guys actually in here that are members of our pro plan, you can actually trade this right now. And the way that you would do that is you'd go into the GitHub repository, right, the Lumi Wealth Strategies, where our whole strategy library is. Let me share that link with you guys here. Here's the, oops. Here's the strategy library. I'm sharing that link. And you guys can basically just go into this bot. So you can find here Congress trading. So Congress, we're going to find that. Congress follower bot is right there. You'll click on Congress follower. Click on it. And then when you go down here, you'll see a button that says deploy to render. That's basically how you would run this algorithm. I'm going to show you how to do the rest of it today. But let's say you want to actually run this bot. That is how you would do it, right? Also, while we're in here, you can see that we have, this one doesn't actually have all the back tests in it, but you could see that this is very easy to run. It's a single button click, and you can actually get this thing off the ground very quickly, right? You could also change this, by the way. This is only following Nancy Pelosi, but you can actually follow a lot of other people, right? Here, for example, is the exact same bot, just using a slightly different configuration. Instead of going after Nancy Pelosi, this is going after a Congress member named Mark Green. He is a Republican from Texas, and he is really good at picking oil stocks. So here's a bot, that the same bot, but instead of following Nancy Pelosi, is following Mark Green. This is what we got here. So we see in blue is the bot that we actually built out. And then in yellow is S&P 500. So first of all, you can see that he definitely beat the S&P by a very nice margin, right? He did specifically about 20% a year when we back tested this bot. But also what's really interesting is that he didn't really see a bear market. The entire stock market went into convulsions for a year. You see here, 2022. Basically, we were going down for about a year, right? His portfolio did not see any such declines. Basically, it was a very stable up and to the right graph, which I think is very interesting for Mark Green, right? So doing very well here, 20% a year, fantastic returns. We've also been running this for some time. So here is that Pelosi bot. This is actually running this bot, and we've been running it since October 4th of 2024, which was, what, 2 months ago? Over 2 months, it's up already 15%. Quite a nice return. You can see here, pretty much straight up and to the right. Fantastic. Nancy Pelosi is definitely a good stock picker. And we'll talk, actually, I don't have the actual statistics on me right now, but if you look at the S&P 500, that is way above what the S&P 500 did over the past 2 months. It's been doing well, definitely not 15% in 2 months well, right? So just to show you some of those bots there. Okay, so that's our Congress follower bot. Let me know if you have any questions around that. You can follow Nancy Pelosi, you can follow Mark Green. You can also follow a lot of other Congress members if you want to do that, right? Okay, cool. Here's another bot that we worked on. This we call our diversified leverage bot. Okay. So diversified leverage is basically a bot where we initially started off with Ray Dalio's proposition. So Ray Dalio If you don't know him, he's one of the world's best investors. He is worth $14 billion, one of the richest people in the world. He also runs, or used to run, the world's biggest hedge fund called Bridgewater Associates. They have a few different funds within there. They're extremely successful. And I think they manage, was it $200 billion, something like that. Really crazy amount of money. Very, very wealthy individual. Ray Dalio comes to hedge fund managers. So he basically wrote a book, and he was also in a book with Tony Robbins that was about investing, right? So Tony Robbins wrote this book, and he went around and he interviewed, the best investment managers in the world to say, how do we invest? How should you invest as an individual? When he asked Ray Dalio, he said, what do you recommend people do with their money? What he said is that you should be investing your money into something like an all-weather portfolio. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay. The all-weather portfolio, this is basically a hedge fund or a fund within Bridgewater, is called the all-weather fund, and they follow this specific investment structure, right? This is how they invest. Is basically, and I think they manage like $100-something billion in that fund. Really, really big fund. Basically, what they do is the intention of this fund or this structure is to basically protect you against all different scenarios that could happen in the economy. Okay. So what he says is you should put 30% of your money into stocks, 40% of your money into long-term debt, 15% of your money into intermediate term debt, right? So long-term being something like 20 plus years, intermediate term being about like 5 to 15 years, that sort of thing. Then 7.5% of your money into a diversified set of commodities, right? So things like silver, cattle, livestock, that sort of thing. And then 7.5% of your money into gold, right? And you might ask, why the heck would Ray Dalio recommend doing this? Why do they have a $100 billion fund that invests in this? Well, the reason why, according to Ray Dalio, is because this specific structure will protect you against pretty much anything that can happen in the economy, right? So according to Ray Dalio, there's a quadrant, right? Let me see if I can find this. All-weather quadrants. Let me see if I can show you a visual of this. Okay. So this is essentially what he's saying. Okay, let's zoom in on this, actually. Let me open up this website. I usually just show this to people, but there we go. Okay. All right. So according to Ray Dalio, we can have 4 different scenarios in any economy, right? Including the United States, right? You could either have economic growth increasing or decreasing. You could have inflation increasing or decreasing, right? And then you can have the combination of all those, right? So let's say if economic growth is increasing, then you probably want to be in stocks. You probably want to be in commodities. You probably want to be in corporate bonds, right? If inflation is increasing, then maybe you want to be in inflation-linked bonds. You probably want to be in commodities. This is actually not a very good chart because it's not, let me show you here. There you go. I think this is going to be a little bit better. It's my first time actually showing this this little chart here. We usually get people to just visualize it. But okay, cool. So you can have you can either have growth increasing or decreasing, or you can have inflation increasing or decreasing, and you can have the intersection of the two, right? So if growth is increasing, then stocks, commodities, those are going to be good things for you, right? If growth is falling, you probably don't want to be in stocks, right? But potentially you could make a lot of money still in bonds, right? If inflation is increasing, you can make a lot of money in commodities. You can make a lot of money in stocks potentially, but that's definitely not when you want to be in bonds. If you're in bonds when there's high inflation, as we saw the past few years, they don't tend to do very well, right? Because interest rates go up and that brings down the prices of bonds, right? Versus if inflation is low, then bonds tend to do well. So essentially, when you have this mix, these 4 different asset classes that Ray Dalio recommends, which are right here, then you're going to protect yourself against all these different scenarios, right? That's the entire idea of this. It's basically bringing down risk. It's diversifying to the point where you can really reduce your risk and make it so you have a very nice, stable up and to the right graph, right? And if you actually map this out, this is quite a nice stable graph, right? However, the one problem with Ray Dalio and his approach is that, okay, it's stable, but it doesn't really beat the S&P 500. It doesn't, it doesn't beat the stock market, which is a big problem, right? Because that's what we care about. We care about absolute returns. We care about actually making a lot of money, right? So what we did was we took this diversified leverage approach, right? Or we took this diversified asset approach and added leverage to it. So what we did was, instead of investing in just the stock market, we invested in things like TQQQ, right? Here's the asset TQQQ. If you've never seen this one before, this is a very interesting asset. Let's compare. So basically what this is the triple leveraged NASDAQ, right? So the QQQ is a regular NASDAQ, right? It's the tech stocks where people put in, invest in tech usually. And when you invest in the regular QQQ, if you had bought this since 1999, right? This is about as far back as this record goes. You would have made about a 900% return on the S&P or on the NASDAQ, right? Very nice return, okay? Tech stocks have done very well, 900% return, 9 times your money. That's fantastic. That's a very good return. However, if you had been in this triple leveraged NASDAQ, this TQQQ, which basically what it does is every day, if the S&P goes up 1%, this goes up by 3%. If it goes down by 1%, it goes down by 3%. So every day it's tripling the return of the NASDAQ. Now, if you had invested in this instead of the NASDAQ, and mind you, by the way, they actually have less of a time period here because the NASDAQ's been around since 1999. This one, we're only starting since 2010, right? So there's actually less time as well. But it doesn't really matter because the TQQQ just absolutely annihilates the NASDAQ itself. So you can see here, over this time period, this is about a 14, 15-year time period. TQQQ is up 20,665%, 20,000% versus the NASDAQ, which is only up 900%. So we're talking about, more than double the returns over this time period, and even using a shorter time period as well for the TQQQ. So you can see that this thing just really performs very well, right? We could also do this with a few other ones. We also invest in something called UPRO, right, which is the triple leveraged S&P 500, right? So if you do this one here, you'll see same sort of thing, right? S&P 500 over this time period is up 1,300%, let's call it. The UPRO is up 8,000%, so 8 times higher return. Way, way higher returns using these leverage ETFs, okay? Now, the problem, though, with buying these leverage ETFs is that they move a lot, right? They're leveraged, so that they're very, very volatile. If you see here, this is that UPRO, which just shot up like crazy. It's up a lot right now. It's up, 8,000 something percent. But if you had bought it, let's say around here in 2021, right before the bear market, you would have gotten hit very, very hard, right? You would have gone from being up 6,000% to being up only 2,500%, meaning you lost more than half of your money if you had just only bought UPRO. Okay, so lots of money to be made, but too risky. Whereas Ray Dalio's approach is very little risk, but maybe not making enough money. So we combined the two, right? So we took Ray Dalio's all-weather approach, added leverage to it, basically invested in a lot of UPRO, a lot of TQQQ, and a lot of other things like that. And we back tested it. We got a very nice return here, which is basically 29% per year, where we simulated this trading all the way back from February 2010 up until June of this year. We got a 29% average annual return. Fantastic returns, right? Basically copying Ray Dalio and adding in a bit of leverage. So very, very good returns in terms of our back test. But it's not just the back test. I've actually been running this for a while. This is one of our oldest algorithms. I've been running this algorithm since June 21st, 2023. This is with real money. And I am up quite a bit. I'm up 53, almost 54% since putting money into this. My account is now worth $5,400. I'm up in this one account about $1,900. Real money, making money doing this diversified leverage approach. So fantastic algorithm. Again, if you guys want to invest in this, if you actually want to use this algorithm, then you can go into our GitHub library and basically you want to search for diversified leverage. So diversified, right? There it is, diversified leverage or threshold. You want to click on that, right? And again, just like the other algorithm, you can go scroll down, find this deploy to render button, and you can actually run this algorithm right now if you'd like to. We'll show you exactly how to do this during the class, right? Okay, cool. So that's two of our algorithms. I showed you our Congress following bot, both following Nancy Pelosi and Mark Green. I've also showed you our diversified leverage bot. These bots are, kind of the ones that that have been around for a while and, kind of turn some heads, to be honest with you, when we look at Nancy Pelosi, but they're definitely not our best performers. So let me show you some of the bots that have been performing really, 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 really well. Okay. Here's one of them. Here's our Alpha Pick spot. This is one of my favorites. I've actually had some money in this for some time now. I'll show you basically the returns of it. But let me first tell you what it does. Okay. So this Alpha Pick spot, what it does is it follows a company called Seeking Alpha. If you've never heard of these guys, they're quite popular. Less so lately, more so in the past. But basically what it is kind of like a blog for investments, right? So people go in here and if they have some idea, there's a lot of like really smart hedge fund managers, a lot of really intelligent finance people here making blogs about all sorts of things, right? Super microcomputer, red flags everywhere. So that's one thing, right? 3 wide moat REITs, right? Tesla, a golden buying opportunity. All these different articles here that people are writing. Okay. So Seeking Alpha has been making money doing this for a while, right? Because they sell ads and stuff like that, right? You could pay for access as well. So they actually have been around for quite some time and they have a lot of data, right? So they have lots of stock market data. They have lots of data from all the articles that people are publishing. They have things that you can't get access to basically, right? So what they did is they decided to create this thing called Alpha Picks, right? So because they have all this data, because they have all this access, they were able to create something called Alpha Picks that basically, and let's see here, this is the latest update. Basically, they provide you with 2 stock picks a month, right? They give you a stock pick on the 1st and on the 15th of every month. Okay. Now, I've been in this for a while. Here's a graph of how it's performed. Okay. I've been basically following these guys for some time. I've been subscribed to them maybe for a year and a half now. Okay. And they've sent a couple of picks out, and I've been like, you know what? Let's just buy this. There's a couple that came up, and let me show you a few that I bought. Okay, I'm going to log into one of my accounts here. So 1 second, I'm going to log into one of my trading accounts. Okay, there you go. So here's an account that I manage. It's about almost $1.2 million, $1.14 million is in this account. And if you scroll down here, you can see a couple of these things that I bought specifically because Alpha Picks recommended it, right? One of those is Modine Manufacturing, okay? They recommended this something like about a year ago, okay? And I'm like, you know what? They're recommending it. I don't really know what they do. I did some really quick research. I'll take your word for it. I bought Modine Manufacturing. I put in about $26,000. That is now worth $168,000. It has gone up very dramatically. Specifically, it's up 545%, or I've made about $142,000 on this one single pick that Alpha Picks gave me. Okay. Another one. Here's another example. Powell. This is one that they recommended maybe 6 months, maybe a year ago. Okay. I put in $15,000. That $15,000 is now worth $71,000. Or in other words, it's up 369% or $56,000 since I bought it. Another one, Sprouts Farmers. I know a little bit about these guys. I did a little bit of research, but I'm like, you know what? I'll take their word for it. I put in $23,000, about $24K into this. It is now worth $45,000. This was maybe 3-4 months ago, very, very recently. So up almost doubled, up 89% or $21,000 in a very short time period. Okay, there's more of them. The Synchrony Financial is a bunch that these were ones that I was actually just buying manually, right? They'd give out a stock pick, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just do that. I'll buy this thing manually. Okay. But I started to notice that, first of all, there's a lot of these picks, right? They happen twice a month. That means you have to stay on top of it. They're also removing things from their portfolio, right? So there's some things that, they say, don't own this anymore, right? We're removing it, right? So it's kind of hard to follow this. There's actually one that I missed, specifically SMCI. They recommended this some like 2 years ago. If I had bought when they recommended it, I would have been up 1,000% by the time that they said to get rid of it. 1,000%. I missed out on that because, life happens, right? They send you a pick. You're like, oh yeah, this sounds pretty cool. And then you have to go get groceries. You have to do whatever. And then you forget. And because of that, I lost a 10x return or 1,000% return in like a year. It's crazy. So what we decided to do is basically build a bot that follows what they do, right? So instead of you having to follow their picks yourself, this will automatically follow what Alpha Picks does. So if we take a look at this, this is basically that bot, right? Actually, let's take a step back. Here's how they've performed as a portfolio. Okay. This is in blue, how they've done versus S&P 500 in gray. You can see that they just absolutely demolished S&P 500, right? S&P is up 60%. They're up 174%. That is quite a nice return. They measure this. They've done very well over it. So about triple the returns of the S&P 500 over the past, say, 2.5 years. Okay, since July 1st, 2022. So 381 days, apparently. Actually, I think it's more than 381 days. I guess just trading days. But over this time period, about 2.5 years, they have really beat the S&P 500 by quite a bit. Okay. So we built a bot basically to follow these guys, and this is what happened. Okay. So here are those bots. We built, here's in paper trading. I'm going to show you my real money account as well. Here's in paper trading, basically just copying them completely since August 20th. Okay. So August 20th was what? So August, September, October, November, about 4 months ago, it's up 9%. It's pretty nice, right? It's a pretty good return, 9%. But we decided to go a step further. Okay. This is basically copying their portfolio outright. Exactly what they say to buy, we buy. Exactly what they say to sell, we sell. However, when you take a look at their picks, they actually even label them, right? They say, okay, this is this pick, and we say it's a hold, right? Or we say it's a buy, or we say it's a strong buy, right? They have 3 different levels: hold, buy, and strong buy. Okay. So we said, you know what? Well, what if we built a bot that, only buys things that are either a buy or a strong buy? Forget the hold, right? We don't want to touch those hold stocks. So that's exactly what this is here. This is our buy plus version of it, right? And instead of being up from August 20th, 9%, this one is up 18, almost 19% from that same time period, right? So a heck of a lot better if we're ignoring their hold, right? Okay, that's amazing, right? What if we took it a step further and only bought the ones that they said was a strong buy, right? That one did even better. You can see here, strong buy since August 20th is up 24%. What does that work out to? That's like 5, 6, 7% a month, something like that. Pretty damn nice return for only stocks, right? There's only trading stocks. It's not even trading any kind of options or anything like that. Now, I've been running this with real money. Okay, I decided to put my money into strong buy because I've been seeing this thing perform really damn well. And this is what's happened with my real money account. Okay. I put in $11,500. It is now worth $13,300. So in other words, I made almost $2,000 on this since September of 27. So September 27. So it's what? September, October, November, December, 2.5 months, let's say. I'm up already 16%, or I made almost $2,000 following this strategy using this bot, right? So quite a nice return. We're talking about something like 5, 6% a month that I'm making using this bot so far. All right. So really nice bot. That's our Alpha Picks bot. Basically only using stocks to trade, doesn't even trade any kind of options or anything like that. All right. Very cool bot. It's one of my favorites. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that. but it's definitely one of my favorite bots to use. And again, if you're a pro plan or all access plan subscriber, you can go into our Lumi Wealth strategies. You can find alpha picks. So you just search for alpha. There's stock alpha picks. We also made one that uses options to follow this one. So if you're interested in that, you can also run that. But here, if you want to run the stock alpha picks, you'd find that, click on it, and essentially just, again, scroll down until you find this deploy to render button, and you can deploy it and run it that way. All right. Okay, cool. All right, so I've shown you a couple bots so far. I've showed you our Congress following bot that followed Nancy Pelosi and Mark Green. I've showed you our diversified leverage bot, which is basically following Ray Dalio's advice and adding some leverage. I've showed you our Alpha Picks bot, which is basically a copy bot copying Alpha Picks. Let me show you a few more, okay? And then I'll show you exactly how to get these things running, okay? So here is our options EMA spreads bot, okay? So this is a bot. So there's a question here. Which one do you recommend the most, Alpha Picks or Diversified, if someone wants to run one of them only? We're not here to give advice. I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't want to give you any kind of advice, but I personally have money in both. I have money in Alpha Picks and Diversified Leverage. I've put more money into Alpha Picks. I can show you my accounts here. I have $5,500 in Diversified Leverage, and I have about $14,000, about $13,500 in Alpha Picks. And I'm planning actually to put a lot more into this. This is one of my favorites. Alpha Picks been performing very, very well with pretty decent risk metrics as well. I'm planning to put maybe another $100,000 into this very shortly. I'm just waiting for money to be moved around. It's taking quite a bit of time to move money around. But once that money gets moved over, I'm going to be putting about another $100,000 into this bot specifically. All right. So it gives you a little bit of an idea. You could choose to do whatever you want, but that's basically what I've been doing. All right. Okay. And in general, also to say another thing, you might notice, I have a lot of different accounts here where I have real money in it. Another thing I really believe in is diversifying. So I have money in a bunch of different algorithms that we have. If you look at some of the biggest hedge funds in the world, if you look at Renaissance Technologies is one that's really big into making trading algorithms. They've performed extremely well. If you know this guy, Jim Simons, little side note, Amazon.com. There's a book about him, Amazon.com. Okay, it's called The Man Who Solved the Market. A really interesting book. Let me share this with you guys. If you have not read this yet, I'd strongly recommend that you read this. Here is the book. I'm going to share this also to folks that are following us on YouTube and all that. This is about a guy named Jim Simons, who is he passed away a few months ago, but was one of the most successful hedge fund managers in all of history. This guy basically the only used computers to trade. Not a person never once traded anything like manually. All of it is completely automated by computers. These guys are probably the most successful hedge fund in all of history. They made about 67% a year on average for 30 years straight. Put that into a calculator. If you know how to calculate compound interest, it is wild. If you put in 10 grand into that, you'd be richer than you could possibly need in your life. So very, very successful hedge fund. These guys have done very well. Jim Simons, before he died, he was, I think, 40th richest person on earth. So around like 42 or something like that on the Forbes list. Really, really successful, really, really rich people running this fund. And the way that they run their hedge fund is they have a bunch of these different algorithms that they run, but they're not putting all their money into one thing, right? They have one algorithm that they think can make them 100% a year. They have another one that they think can make them 50% a year. They have another one that they think can make them 125% a year, something like that. They put a little bit of money into each one and they diversify across all of them. That's how they're able to achieve really, really high returns with very, very low risk. It's said that this hedge fund, the Renaissance fund that actually runs this stuff, they, I think, only lost money once in one quarter in 30 years. Okay, think about that. The tech bubble crashed. 2008 happened. 2022 happened. There's so many bear markets, so many crashes that happen. These guys only lost money one quarter, right? And they're making 66% a year on average. That's insane, right? How do they do it? They build trading algorithms. They diversified across a bunch of different algorithms, and they made tons and tons of money doing that, right? Really interesting book. If you haven't read it, I definitely suggest you check it out. It's a fantastic read and will really inspire you a lot for why to get into algo trading and how people are doing this in real life, right? Cool. Okay. All right. So a little side note there. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. I see that my post to YouTube got a little broken up, but hopefully you guys still got that link there. The man who solved the market. Okay, cool. So here's another bot. Let me show you another bot that we worked on. This one we call the EMA spreads bot, okay? Because that's basically what it does, right? So if you're an options trader, you'll know what I'm talking about when I see a spread, right? An options spread basically means, and for those of you that are not too familiar with options trading, essentially when you trade options, you could trade puts or calls, right? We typically say puts if you'll buy if you want to bet on something going down. Calls you'll buy if you want to bet on something going up. But then you could also buy or sell them, right? So there's really 4 different transactions you could do. You could either buy a call, buy a put, or you could sell a call or sell a put, right? Now, you could do a whole combination of all these different things to do some very interesting stuff with options, right? One of them is a call spread, right? So here is what that looks like, okay? Basically, you're going to be making money if the stock goes up, or ETF goes up, whatever it is that you're buying this on. You'll make some money on it, but you do have a cap on it, right? So you're only going to be able to make money up until a certain point, and you get capped out. But then also you have a minimum, right? So you're essentially betting on something going up, but you're able to reduce your risk, right? So you could cap your losses and cap your gains, right? So why would you want to do that, right? So first of all, this is a very common strategy for people to use when they want to bet on a stock going up, right? So instead of simply buying a call, they would buy a call spread, a bull call spread specifically in this case. And instead of paying so much money for their calls, they could actually sell a put, or they could sell a call at a different time, at a different point. So for example, here we're buying a call at this price and we're selling one at this price. What that does is it allows me to take more leverage. It allows me to protect my risks a little bit better. So I have a max loss and a max gain. And I'm able to essentially get this for a lot cheaper, right? So instead of just simply buying calls, we're buying the spreads. So we're now able to take bigger risks and be able to basically reduce kind of our ups and our downs a little bit better too. Okay. So what this strategy does, this options trading strategy basically buys these call spreads, okay, if certain criteria are met. Okay. So we're looking at things like the VIX. Is the VIX volatility index, is that low today, right? If it's low, that's one check mark, okay? Another one is the market trending upwards, right? So are we in a bear market, or has it been trending upwards for a while? If it's been trending upwards, that's another check mark, right? And we go through a few series of check marks like that to make sure that we're in a good position, right? Volatility is low, market's trending up, things are going well. If all those things align, then we're going to be buying call spreads on the SPY in this case. This is one configuration of it. We have a few different ones. But in this case, we're buying a call spread on SPY, or on the S&P 500, right? And we're basically buying that in increments, right? We're not buying it all in one day. We're buying it 3% at a time, I believe, in this case. We're buying a little bit, and legging in. So that way we don't, first of all, put all of our money in one point, right? So we're able to diversify the timing a bit, but then also we're able to diversify when things expire, right? So this is a much smarter way to essentially trade a call spread. It's a very advanced way of doing it, right? A lot of people go in and just buy a call option, right? In this case, a call spread is going to make you, usually is going to do a lot better for you, right? Because you're going to be able to use more leverage. You don't have to spend as much money on it. And then on top of that, we're also checking all these things. Are we trending up? Do we have VIX that's low? All that kind of stuff. And also on top of that, we're diversifying when we're actually getting in, right? So we built that algorithm. We spent a couple weeks on it in our Tuesday classes, as I mentioned. Fantastic place to actually build really, really cool algorithms. And this is what we got when we back tested it. Okay, we back tested this from June 2021 up until September of 2024. And we got a graph that looks like this, right? Very nice upward trending graph. You can see here that it was smart enough to stay away from 2022. Very nice, because the market was not trending up. The VIX was very high during that time period. So it stayed away from that bear market almost completely, and basically made a ton of money here when it came back out. Okay. So what we got is we got about an 83% average annual return when we back tested this, with a pretty modest drawdown of 29%. It's about the same that the stock market did around that time period. But 83% a year, that's quite good. That's a really, really good return, right? And that's even more so impressive, the fact that it didn't even trade for like an entire year, right? So if you took out this year, if you only said you put your money in here when it started trading again, I think we had something more like a 200 or 250% a year return. It's wild. This thing made a ton of money. I've actually been trading this with real cash. This is the one with real money. This is what mine looks like. So I put in about $4,000, $3,970 into this. I'm up already $2,000, or I'm up about 51% since buying this in September. So this is what? September, October, November, December, about 3 months, not even 3 months. I'm up 50% already using this algorithm, right? Very nice. Trades option call spreads. Really damn nice return. I was very pleasantly surprised looking at this thing. It's like, oh, that's nice, an extra $2,000 that I can, do whatever we need to do with, right? Well, a nice little trip or something. But very cool. So that's our options EMA spreads. That's specifically trading the S&P 500. Here's one that actually diversifies a little bit. This is one that doesn't only trade the SPY, it also trades IWM and gold, right? IWM, if you don't know what it is the Russell 2000. It's smaller companies, like mid-cap companies in the United States, versus S&P, which is the big ones, right? And then it also trades gold because we want to diversify, right? So we own some S&P, we own some IWM, and we own some gold, and each one of them have their own criteria, right? So I've already talked about the criteria for SPY. We're looking at the VIX, things like that. But then there's also things like that for gold, right? There's the VIX index for gold, right? I think it's GVIX or something like that. And it's the same thing. If volatility is low on gold, we're going to be buying into gold. We're looking for it trending upwards. We're looking for low volatility, all that sort of thing. Same thing with IWM. They have their own VIX type index as well. So if that's low, if it's trending up, etc., we're buying some IWM, right? So here we're in 3 different assets instead of just one. So we're diversifying across all of them. And we get a very nice result here. When we back tested it from 2020, September to September 2024, we got about 73% a year with this, with a lower drawdown than the other one because it's more diversified. So it makes sense, right? So we have a really nice annual return and a max drawdown that is a lot more reasonable, right? I've also been running this one. It's a little bit more diversified, so it's not up as much, but I'm up about 2.6% since buying this thing. We've also been running this thing in paper trading. Let me show you this because a longer track record. Where is this? SPY Gold IWM. This one's down a little bit actually here. Just funny because with real money, I'm actually up a lot more. Yeah, so that's basically this algorithm here, making some real nice money on it. The diversified one, I'm up about 2.6%. The one with S&P 500, I'm up 51%. So very nice return there, right? Okay, so we got a question here. So we have CB is asking, are there aggressive versus conservative bots? Yes, absolutely. We definitely have ones that are more aggressive. We definitely have ones that are more conservative. One way that you can tell is by looking at the returns on the drawdowns, right? Here in this case, we could see this bot has a drawdown of about 23% versus this one here has a drawdown of about 29%. That's usually the way that I would be looking at the risks involved in this. I like looking at drawdowns. You can also look at Sharpe ratios, which are going to be incorporating volatility as well into the return. So yes, when you go through our bots, you can actually see, what are the Sharpe ratios, what are the drawdowns, what's the volatility that they had, and you can actually see all of them. We do have quite a wide spectrum, right? We have everything from something that's just really just buying stocks, right, to things that are buying leverage versions of stocks, to things that are buying options. So you'll have different variety there across the board, right? So absolutely, yes, that's a very good question, CB. We do have a whole different spectrum of bots that are going to be more risky versus less risky. Obviously, or not obviously, but typically, the more risk you're willing to take, chances are you're going to have a higher chance of making more money as well, right? Okay, it's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Okay, cool. So we have our option spreads bot. So I was talking about here, our EMA spreads. Let me show you one more bot, and then we're going to move on to show you exactly how to run this. Oh, and by the way, if you want to run that bot, the EMA spreads bot, go to the strategy library that I shared with you. And if you guys are there, search for EMA. It's called Options Rolling EMA Spreads. You need to click on that, right? And then again, search for this button, deploy to render, and that's how you'll be able to run this thing, all right? Okay, cool. All right, so let me show you one more bot, and then we'll move on to show you exactly how to run these things. So here's another one that trades iron condors. We call this our iron condor trading bot, or options condor martingale is what it's called. And for those of you that don't know what an iron condor is, it looks something like this. It's an options trading strategy. Here we go. Where basically you're buying two options and you're selling two options, okay? Specifically here, we're buying a put and a call, and we're selling a put and a call, okay? So this is a net sale for options, meaning that when we put this thing on, we get cash immediately, right? So we'll immediately make money when we create an iron condor, okay? So here's basically what it looks like. Let's say, for example, in this case, let's say the S&P is at $100, right? Just to make things simple. I know it's not anywhere near there right now, but let's say SPY is trading at $100 a share. Okay? If we put on this iron condor, we would immediately make money. You can see that in the green here. Okay? And we will keep that money as long as the S&P does not move too far in either direction. So as long as it does not move up too far and it doesn't move down too far. Right? So basically, we're making money as long as the market is pretty calm, right? So in other words, we can make money when the stock market's falling. We can make money when the market's going up. We don't care whether the market is up or down. It doesn't matter. It just matters that the market is calm, okay? Which is a very nice type of thing, right? Because you could be making money even when the stock market's falling. You could be making some very good money, right? So this is what an iron condor works, how it works in general, right? So we basically want to put this thing on, and we're going to generate cash. Now, we built a bot that basically automates that for you, right? There's a lot of people that trade this. If you speak to some, if you ever go to like options meetups and stuff like that, it's one of the most popular options trading algorithms, or options trading strategies, I should say, because it is very profitable. There's a lot of people that have made a lot of money doing this kind of stuff. I actually heard about it first from a guy that used to work at what he used to work at, I think Citibank. I think he was like a VP at Citibank, retired, and now just manages his money. He basically just does this. He's making a killing doing iron condors. That's why I first heard about it. But what we did is we basically built a bot to automate that, right? Because it's a pain to put these things on. It's a lot of work, right? You have to analyze where the market is. You have to sell to. You have to buy to. It's like a whole thing. It's like quite a bit of time it takes to put together the strategy. So first of all, we automated that, right? So you could just automatically put this thing on. But then we also took it a step further, right? We also were able to back test it, right? We could see how this thing did. So here, for example, is our version 12 of this bot, and we have quite a few different versions. We've done, I think we're up to like version 30 almost now. We've done all these different iterations of it, right? So we've made it better and better over time. And I'll show you a couple of these that we've been running for a while. But here's a version 12. We back tested it from January to August, January 2020 to August 2024. And we got something like a 77% annual return with it. per year, right? So in other words, 1,300% over this whole time period, and also very, very modest drawdown, only about 31% drawdown. So pretty damn good risk to return ratio there, right? That's our version 12 of it. And this one basically just buys this thing, and I think it has a stop loss put in place and a few other things that's basically making this thing even better, right? But we kept going and we kept making new iterations of it and kept improving this thing. And here's our version 26. This one is very interesting. I'm actually planning to put in about $6,000 into this very shortly. I'm just moving some money over. Hopefully it arrives. I was hoping by today, maybe by tomorrow or after tomorrow, I'll actually start running this thing with real money. This is a brand new one. But version 26, I really, really like personally because it's now got a whole bunch of features in here, right? So first of all, it's selling these iron condors, making money. Second of all, it's using what's called a martingale. If you're not familiar with what a martingale is, it's basically every time you lose, you increase the amount of things that you buy. This is actually known to be one of the easiest ways to win at a casino. You go to a casino if you want to play roulette and actually win at roulette. Try doing a martingale. It's statistically the best way for you to win at roulette. Which, roulette, if you know how it works, is basically a losing game. But if you martingale it, there's actually a good chance of winning it. I've actually won a lot of money doing martingales over the years. But we did that with Iron Condor, and that's why we got this very nice and stable looking graph, because every time we lose, we just put more money in, and then when we eventually win, it pops back up again. So you see these little dips and then right back up again. So it's a very stable up and to the right graph. And then we're also doing things like looking at the VIX, right? We're specifically looking at this index called the VIX 1 day, right? So if you know what the VIX looks like, it's a volatility index, right? Basically checking, what's happening with the market today. Is today a volatile day, or is it like a risky type day or not, right? But there's also something called the VIX 1 day, which you might have not heard of. And this is specifically, so the VIX is looking at 30-day options. This is looking at 1-day expiration options. Okay. So you get to have these really big peaks and troughs. So this is actually a really good gauge of where the market is at in terms of where people think risk is. So we're looking at this index here. And when this thing is too high, we're not buying this stuff, or we're not putting on an iron condor, right? And then we're doing a martingale on top of that. And we get this very nice result, right? Again, 82% a year, very low drawdown, only about a 9% drawdown over this time period. It's shorter, so only about a year. We can only do a year because this indicator has not been around for that long. It didn't come out until April 25th, right? So we started from there. But we got a very, very nice result. We've been running this so far. Let me show you a couple of these. So here's a few of them. Here's version 1 when we created it. This is version 1 of this Iron Condor trading bot. We've been running this one since June 24th of 2024. It is up 194% since June. So what is that? June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So about not even 6 months, it is up 194%. It took a $100,000 account to be worth almost $300,000 already. Wild. This thing is doing very, very well. Here's version 4 of it, right? Version 4. This thing is up 17.6% since June 21st. Also doing very well. So that's what, 6 months, not even 6 months, up 18%. We have different versions. Here's another one that's actually been doing very well too. Version 10. This one since August 16th is up 48%. Quite wild, right? So really, really good results when we're trading these condors. All of these are a little bit different. They're using different stop losses. They're using different levels of the VIX. They're using VIX versus VIX 1 day. There's all these different combinations here, and you can see that they've been performing very well. This is one that I really like. This is that SPY 26. We just started running this one. I started this on November 21st. It's already up 2%. I expect this one to do very, very well. Again, I'm going to be putting real money into this very shortly. As soon as it moves over, I'm going to be putting about $6,000 into this one here. Right, this is the SPY 26 and how I expect it to actually turn out. Right. Very cool. Okay, cool. So that's our Iron Condor trading bots. You see 2 of them. We've talked about a bunch here. We've talked about our Congress following bots, following Pelosi, following Mark Green. You can also follow other Congress members. We've talked about a diversified leverage bot, which copies Ray Dalio's strategy with leverage. We have our Alpha Pix bot, which copies Seeking Alpha, Alpha Pix. We have our EMA spreads bots, right? Different versions of it. We have our Iron Condor bots, and then we have so many more. This new one that we just started running that I really like is this one that we call Captain Backtest, right? It uses range breakouts, so it's looking for breakouts from a range, and only buys in at that point. This is a nice little thing that we got here. Here's that new one, right? We just started running this thing. Right, but very nice returns, 53% a year, according to our back test, with a very mild drawdown, and doesn't seem to really get affected by bear markets, which is really cool. We have another one that we're working on that trades meme coins, this Solana Sniper bot that we're working on last night. That one's really interesting too. We have so many different bots in here. We have a futures trading bot that we've been working on. Tons and tons of bots. If you join our pro plan, you can get any of these bots. You can actually, right now, you can run them. Again, I know a bunch of people here that are in our pro plan. If you want to, you guys could run this stuff right now, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. All right. Okay, cool. So before we jump into how to actually do this, let me open the board up and see if you guys have any questions before we actually get started with all of this. All right. I see one here. So can you recommend a video on how to deploy and activate a bot after we pick the bot? What do we need to know and basic skills? So I'm about to go through that right now. So let me show you exactly how to run this right now. And we'll go through it in just a second. Okay, so another one, CBS. Are there any other crypto specific bots? Yeah, we have the sniper bot. We have ones. What else do we have? We have a bunch of other crypto ones in here. Let me actually pull these up. So crypto, here's a bunch that we have. We have a grid bot, right? You've probably seen grid bots before. That's one that we have. We have a double EMA trending bot. So it's basically looking for two EMAs to be trending upwards, right? And then it'll buy into that. We have a custom ETF one. We have a Bollinger Bands following one. So we have 5 different crypto bots that are available if you go through this, right? All right. Can you build a bot or use a bot on a specific stock? Yes, you absolutely can. So one of the advantages of the bots that we have here is they're very customizable. You can actually, first of all, you're going to get the code, so you can actually modify the code however you want, right? But second of all, even without modifying the code, we have what we call parameters, right? So for example, here, if we go into this Condor Martingale bot, right? Let's say we go into this. Here's a bunch of different configurations, right? We have this is I showed you a bunch of them running on SPY, but you could also do it on gold, you could do it on QQQ, you could do it on SPX, right? Or you could pick your own stock, right? Basically, the files look something like this, and these are all the different configurations they can change, right? So here, for example, we're using a wing size of 1. The delta that we're trading with is 20. We're trading a quantity of 25. We're making the condor at 13:45, so in other words, at 2:45 p.m., right? Or no, 1:45 p.m. You could pick your asset. In this case, this is gold, so you could actually just swap this out. You could change it. Oh, I don't want to trade gold. I want to trade Tesla, right? You could definitely do that, right? Or if you took another one of our bots, our EMA spreads bot, you could trade Tesla. You could trade, Coinbase. You could trade whatever, MicroStrategy. You could trade whatever the heck you want. All these things, you're going to get the code, and you're going to be able to modify it specifically however you want. You could modify the code and go really deep into it, or you can even just modify these parameters and make it do basically whatever the heck you want, right? So yes, they are highly customizable. All these bots that you get, you're getting the code and you're able to run each one of these things, right? Also, when you sign up, we're going to help you out with this. So if you need some help with this, we're doing a workshop right now where I'll show you how to do this. But if you want additional help, we could actually go in there and modify things for you. We can help you deploy it. If you're still having trouble after this, we have phone calls. You could join and we can help you do that. If you want help modifying it, we could jump on a call as well. We'll show you exactly how to change this thing and get it to do exactly what you want, right? Okay, cool. Any other questions, guys, before we jump into how to actually run these things? I see a thumbs up. Thank you. Cool. All right. So let's talk about actually running these bots. Okay. So first of all, you're going to need a broker to run it on. In this case, I'm going to be using Alpaca as a broker. And the reason why we do that is because Alpaca is awesome. Basically, this is Alpaca. You go to www.alpaca.markets. I'm going to share this link with you guys here. It's not .com, it is .markets, kind of like how a lot of these new companies are doing it. And when you get here, you'll see that you can trade stocks, options, and crypto with these guys for free. There's no trading fees except for crypto as trading fees, but stocks and options are free trading, right? It's free to create an account, very easy to create an account and get started, which is one of the reasons why we use them. It's very, very simple to get an account up and running with them. And they're built API first. They're really a broker made specifically for what we're doing. So really great broker, really easy to work with. Very simple to get up and running and free trading, just like Robinhood, basically, right? So really, really great broker. Okay. So we're going to be using these guys. However, you can use a lot of our other partner brokers. We work with a bunch of other ones, Interactive Brokers being one of them. You can use Tradier. Tradier is another really good one that we work with. Here's Tradier. It's basically same sort of thing. It's a broker made for APIs, right? And this one, essentially we use because they have this thing where you spend $10 a month and you can get free options trading, which is really cool. Although Alpaca starting to actually beat them to the punch on almost everything. But it's another one that we work with. We also work with Interactive Brokers if you want to work with these guys. We work with Coinbase. We work with a bunch of other brokers, Binance, KuCoin, Kraken. We lots of different brokers that we work with. I'm going to be talking about Alpaca right now, but know that you can use some of those other brokers. I'll show you when we get to it how you can actually make that change to make it work with the broker of your choice. Okay. So first of all, if you don't have an Alpaca account yet, go to that website, www.alpaca.markets. And then basically click on sign up for free. Okay, so there's a big button there. Click on that button. Fill in your first name, last name, your country, email, and password that you want to use. I'm using United States in this case, but you can also use a bunch of other countries. Alpaca now has become very international. I know people that are using them out in Singapore. I think Germany has it as well. Australia has them. So a lot of different countries now are supported by Alpaca. So feel free to, you can fill out this form here, fill out your first name, last name, country, email, give them a password, and then hit sign up. When you do that, you're going to get an email. You're going to have to verify your email address because, they want to verify your email. So they're going to send you an email, click on that button in your email, and then you're going to come over and log in. So let me log in and show you what that looks like. Where is this? Log in. Okay, to the trading API is where you want to log in, by the way. I've had that question before. Okay, and then here I'm going to log in to what email should I use? I think this is Alpaca Demo 22. This is one I usually use. I'm going to log into one of my accounts. I have tons of accounts with these guys. They're very easy to do that. So you can log in this way, continue. Fill in the code. There we go. We're logging in. All right, perfect. Okay. So there is Alpaca. We're logged in. Okay. So if you guys haven't created an account yet, go ahead and do that now. Really simple to create one. You should be able to have one up and running in like 30 seconds. Just fill in that form, confirm the email, and you're good to go. All right. Okay. There's a question here. So question is, do we have bots for Forex trading? We do not have any Forex bots yet, although it is something that we're planning to get into. To be quite frank with you, it's actually just a lot easier to make money trading options and other things like that. Crypto stocks and options are making us so much money that we don't really need to go into other things. But we do plan to eventually start building some Forex bots because there's a lot of people asking about them. I just think it's harder to make money in Forex. It's just a lot easier to make money trading options and stocks and crypto. Okay, so it's the first question. Next question I have is also, how much coding would you recommend that one already has experience with before purchasing the pro package? You don't need to code at all. You do not need any coding experience whatsoever. Basically, you just have to be able to click a few buttons and fill in API keys. That's it. So basically what I'm showing you here This is the full extent of what you need to do, right? You don't need to know any coding. You don't need to know any of that stuff, right? If you want to, if you are a coder, you can get a lot out of it as well, because you're going to get the code, you're going to be able to modify it, you'll be able to do all that stuff. We also have courses that teach you how to do this stuff specifically. So if that's what you want to do, we definitely have that available to you. But by no means, you don't have to code anything at all. We'll show you how to do this from scratch. You could just run this stuff, no problem. All right. Great question. Okay, cool. And let me know if you have any follow-up questions there as well. Okay, cool. So we're at this page now. You've created an account with Alpaca, right? Once you've created an account, you'll see up here, or actually here, you can create your actual account. This is right now when you just give them your email. They just give you a paper trading account they could use right out of the box. That's what we're going to be using right now. Okay. But you could also go through the whole form and just sign up for a proper account and actually start trading with them. You could do that very quickly. We're not going to cover that today. That's a little bit out of scope. If you guys want to do that, feel free to do that. It's very easy to switch from a paper trading account with fake money to real money. That's a really easy switch. I'll show you how to do that. It's basically just using different keys and saying true and false, right? That's it. So it's really, really easy to make that switch. But today we're just going to talk about paper trading and how to get a paper trading bot up and running. Okay. So when you get to this point, we are going to skip over this account type here, and we're just going to go in the top left-hand corner and click on home. Okay. So you'll see that there's also a drop down here. There's no other accounts in this one. This is only a paper trading account. There's no live money account in this one, this account that I've created yet. Okay. So here's my paper trading account. They started me off with $100,000. I've already made a bunch of money, which is nice. We made $9,000 in this account using a pretty simple bot, which I'm going to give to you guys that you can use to run. Even if you're not a subscriber, you can actually just try running it, right? So you have that ability. Not the most sophisticated bot in the world, but has made some money, right? This thing is actually up 9% already trading this stuff, okay? So once you've gotten into here, you've created your account with Alpaca. We've gone to home. Now what we want to do is we want to scroll down and we want to find a section that says API keys. Okay. For me, that's on the right-hand side. If you're on your phone or a smaller device, it'll be lower down the screen. But basically search for a section that says API keys. When you get there, you'll see a button that says generate. For me, it says regenerate because I've already done this before. But either way, click on that button, generate new keys, and now you're going to get yourself an API key and an API secret. Okay. Think of these kind of like a username and password that your bot is going to use to connect to Alpaca, right? So if you want to actually trade with them, you're going to be using these API keys, and this is how you're actually going to be able to place those trades, right? Okay, so once you're here, API keys, generate new keys, and basically leave this alone, right? Once we have this, leave this tab open. Don't come off this tab. We're going to come back and we're going to use these things in the future, right? So we've generated these API keys, right? Okay, so that's basically it for Alpaca. You make an account. Here's a little bit of information about how you do that, right? Go to alpaca.markets, fill in the form, log in, and then go to home. And then we want to search for that API key, generate the keys, and then basically leave this page open. We will come back to this. We're going to use these keys in the future. All right. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. It's basically only three things you need to do to run a bot. You need an account with a broker, you need GitHub, and then you need to run it on Render. 3 steps. That's it. So we're done step 1. Okay. Next step is GitHub. If you do not already have an account with GitHub, you can make one for free. Just go to github.com and you can create an account there, right? And once you have an account, you can access our strategy library. So let me share this link with you guys here. That's our strategy library, github.com/LumiWealth-strategies, right? When you go to this thing here, this is exactly what I was showing you earlier, right? Here's all of our strategies, right? All the different bots that we have created, they can go through here. All right. Okay. So once you're here, if you are a subscriber to us, if you're on our Pro plan or All Access plan, or even on our Star plan, you will see a bunch of bots here, right? On our starter plan, you'll have about 5 different bots. On our pro plan, all access plan, you'll have all of the bots here. You'll see tons and tons of bots. I think we have 30 something bots at this point in time that you'll have access to. If you are not a subscriber, you will only see this one here. This is our example algorithm that you can use to basically run and see how all this stuff works. Okay, so there's our example algorithm. You can click on that there, and this is what I'm going to be using right now. I'm going to be deploying this. I'm going to show you how to run this one so that everyone can get a chance to do this, even if you're not a subscriber. But if you are a subscriber, pick your favorite bot, and we could actually do the one that you want to be working on right now. Right. So whichever bot that is, GitHub account, log in, go to the bot that you actually like, and then we're going to scroll down here and we're going to find this deploy to render button. That's what we're going to be working here. Okay. All right, so there's our algorithm library. Some points. We have one example algorithm for free, which I showed you, right? Our starter plan, you get 5 algorithms, and if you're on a pro or all access plan, you get all of the algorithms that we have, right? And then to run an algorithm, basically you want to find the algorithm that you like, go into that algorithm, and then scroll down, find this deploy to render button, and that's where we're going to be living. All right. Okay, cool. So that's step 2. Okay, so we now have a broker. We now found the bot that we want to run in GitHub. We have an account with them. Okay, cool. Any questions about any of that before we go to step 3? You see, it's pretty simple, right? It really is mostly just about creating accounts. It's most of the process. So when you're asking earlier, do you need to be a coder? You absolutely do not need to be a coder. It's just a couple of clicks. It's really quite simple, right? 3 steps, get your broker, go to GitHub, and then last one here is now set things up on render. Okay. Okay. Questions? All right. Okay. So now let's talk about render. Okay. So first thing you want to do is we want to go to that bot, right? So we want to find our bot. So here in this case, I'm in this example algorithm, right? All of you guys will have access to this, whether you're subscribers or not. And go to this bot or whichever bot you want to run and find that deploy to render button. Okay. When you're here, you want to click on that button, right? Pretty straightforward. Okay. Click on that button. Okay. Before I click on it though, I want to show you one quick thing. Okay. We also have a deployment guide. So if you don't like going through videos or whatever, right? You don't want to listen to all this stuff. You prefer reading things. We also have a deployment guide. So this is what it looks like. Okay, it will show you how to do everything that I'm showing you here in words, right? So deploy to render, right? You click on the button, fill out the blueprint, yada, yada, yada. It shows you how to do that. It shows you how to configure it for each individual broker. We have a really nice guide here that will walk you through step by step with pictures on exactly how all of this works, right? Okay, cool. So that being said, let's click on that deploy to render button. Okay. When I click on it, I get sent to a page that looks like this. Okay. Right. This is because I already have an account with Render. I already have everything set up. However, if this is your first time, you're going to have to go through a bit of a process. Okay. You have to create an account with Render. You have to link your GitHub and a few other things. Okay. Render, if you want to run one bot with Render, is going to cost you $7 a month. Okay. This is the only thing they have to pay outside of our plans, right? So that's $7 a month. And the reason why is because Render is basically going to be running your algorithm on a computer across the country. Okay. So I think specifically they use the servers in North Virginia, I think, right? There's this giant server farm. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this stuff on TV shows, but basically it's like computers like a giant warehouse just full of computers. You could just walk for miles, basically full of computers. And we're going to be running the algorithm in one of those little computers in that giant space, right? So why do we want to do that? Right? Well, first of all, if you wanted to, you could run these algorithms off your computer. That is definitely something that's possible. Okay. However, if you were to run these algorithms on your own computer, okay, what if your internet goes out? What if your power goes out? Right? What if your computer needs an update? What if you have a laptop like I do and you need to move around? Okay. You don't want to be running an algorithm on your own computer like that, right? Because you're going to end up with a lot of these different problems, right? You're going to have problems, with the bot shutting down. You're going to have problems with all sorts of different things. So really, it's best to take this algorithm, run it on a server where basically they have to monitor stuff. Like the things that they have with Amazon, for example, they have these giant facilities just full of like millions of computers. Okay. They have armed guards, they have backup generators, they have backup internet. Basically, if one of those servers went down, you would see almost all like this actually happened once, like years ago, like 10 years ago. One of their servers went down, the entire internet went down, right? So you're in good hands, right? If you're going to be running stuff on render, you have a very high level of reliability. You have armed guards protecting your stuff. You have backup generators, all that kind of stuff, which is exactly the type of environment that you want to be running things that manage your money with, right? So that's why we use Render. That's why it costs $7 a month, and it's very much worth that money in my opinion. Right? Okay, cool. All right, so we talked about Render. We clicked on that deploy to Render button. If you don't have an account with them, you're going to see something like this, right? You're going to see, first of all, you need to create an account, right? So here it's going to say sign in, or you can sign up, right? So you'll click on the sign up button. You'll fill in the form. They'll send you an email. You need to verify your email address the same way that you did with Alpaca. Then they're going to ask you some questions. You can just fill in whatever you want. Here's what I filled in. This is not important, right? Just fill in these questions here. It's going to ask your name, whatever. What are you using this for? Doesn't really matter what you fill in. And then it's going to ask you for your payment information because, again, this is $7 a month. So you need to fill in your credit card information and do that. Okay. Once you have done that, you're also if you're running the free thing, you won't have to do this. But if you're running one of our paid algorithms, one of the ones that's in a pro plan or all access plan, you're going to have to connect your GitHub. Okay. So you'll get to this page here. You'll click on connect GitHub. And then you're going to go through this little flow here. You're going to have to log into GitHub. You're going to have to authorize Render to use your GitHub, right? Then you're going to have to click on your actual name and then give it access to all the repositories and click save. Okay, so basically just giving Render access to GitHub. So this way, Render can communicate with GitHub to get the code for these strategies to run it. All right. So pretty basic stuff. It's really just clicking like next, 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 next. None of it is really that complicated. And you're just filling in a couple things along the way. All right. Once you have done that, you will now be at the same page as me. Okay. You'll be at this page right here that basically tells you fill in your blueprint name, asks you what branch. Don't touch that. Just leave that alone. And then everything else is pretty much exactly the way it should be. All you really have to do is fill in the blueprint name. So I'll put in the name. Usually what I'll do is I'll just take the name of the algorithm, right? And I'll put that in there, but it doesn't really matter, right? So here's example Algo 2. You could call it whatever you want, right? Whatever you want to remember it by. Again, I usually name it the algorithm because I run so many of them. I'm running like 50 of them or something like that. So it really is helpful to me to organize it well. But for you, if you're running this, you can name it whatever you'd like, right? Fill that in. And now you can click on this button in the bottom left-hand corner that says deploy blueprint. And we click that button, right? When we click that button, we get taken to a page like this, okay? It's basically saying, okay, here's your blueprint, and we're running this background worker for you here, okay? So you'll see in the middle of the screen, create background worker, and it has a name, and it's a clickable link, okay? So you want to click on that link, okay? The reason why we're looking at the blueprint right now, we want to be looking at specifically this bot that we're running, okay? So a lot of people will miss this. Make sure that you click on that actual bot name right here in the middle of your screen. So you click on that, okay? And when you click on that, now you'll see that your menu on your left changed, okay? And you see a bunch of stuff in here, okay? What you need to do is you need to go over to environment. This is new. They kind of broke this up a little bit here. So it's underneath manage. You click on environment, okay? When you click on that, you'll see here a bunch of environment variables, okay? This is what we need to fill in, okay? This is basically all that we need to do. This is the hardest part of all of this. We need to just fill in these blanks here, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to click edit. And then when I click on these here, you'll see that some of them are blank, okay? We need to fill in the blanks, okay? So we need to fill in our Alpaca API key, fill in that value, Alpaca API secret, fill in that value. Is paper, you can set this to true or false. And then we're going to have to fill in a live config, which is what configuration do you want to be running? Every bot has a different, or not every bot, but most bots have different configurations they could run. Okay. We also set the market to 24/7 so that we can place trades even when this market is closed. And then we have a strategy name, which you can leave alone, right? So all these things you can leave alone. You really only need to fill in 3 blanks, and that's it, okay? Now, also, I'm going to mention here, I told you guys earlier that if you want to run on different brokers, I'll tell you when to do that. That's basically here, okay? So this, you can see, is set up to run on Alpaca, okay? Alpaca API key, Alpaca API secret, Alpaca is paper. If I want to run this on a different broker, you could pop over to our deployment guide, go over to broker configuration, and then now you see each broker has different things in here. So here's Alpaca, API key, secret, paper, right? But let's say if I want to use Tradier instead, right? I would copy this, copy Tradier access token, and I'd make a new environment variable with that name, right? Tradier access token, and then go over to Tradier and get my access token, right? And then I do the same thing with account number and then is paper, right? I would set all these 3 things, right? That's if I want to use a different broker other than Alpaca, right? So it looks like that, fill in my values, and that's it. Or if I want to use, for example, interactive brokers, which I know some of you guys in here want to do that, go down to interactive brokers configuration, and you'll see this is what you need. IB username, right? That's one of your variables, right? And then IB password is another one of them, right? And then you could also set your account ID, right? This is if you want to use interactive brokers. You take that, you'd fill those in, right? And you delete the ones for Alpaca. Okay, so that's if you want to use a different broker. Okay. In our case, we're just going to stick to Alpaca, right? We're going to keep it simple, right? But if you want to use different brokers, that's how you would do it. Okay. So really quite simple. It's just environment variables, put the name, put the value. That's it. That's all we're doing. That's the hardest part out of all of this. Okay. All right. So you can see here, I have 3 that I need to fill in: my Alpaca API key, my Alpaca API secret, and my live config. So let's fill those out. So first of all, to get my Alpaca API key, you might remember we did that not too long ago. So let's open up that browser tab, right? And lo and behold, there's our key, right? You remember we generated this key not too long ago. I told you to leave your browser window open. And now we're coming back and we're going to use that key. Okay, so here's that key. I usually double click it so it's a little bit easier to select, and then copy. And then we go over to back to render and we paste it in here. Okay, so now we have Alpaca API key with a value of that actual key. Okay. Then I'm going to go back and I need to get the secret. So again, I'm going to double click it. I'm going to copy. And I'm going to paste that into Alpaca API secret. Okay, so now we have Alpaca API key with the actual key that I have, Alpaca API secret with the actual secret that I have as well. Okay, so now we filled in 2 out of 3. Now we have one more thing that we need to fill in, which is our live config. And the way that we can do that, the way that we can get that, is if we go into GitHub again, and I'll go to this example algo here. Now, a lot of our algorithms, they have different configurations they could use, right? They have like a base thing that says, okay, this trades iron condors, or this trades Congress members, or this trades whatever. So they all have that like basic thing, but then you could also customize them, right? So in this case, we have this example algo that can either trade TQQQ and SPY or TQQQ and UPRO, okay? Now I can click into one of these. I like this one, the UPRO. I'll click into that, the PDF. I can see what the back test looks like. Like, okay, this is something I want to run. This is interesting. All right, let's take that. And the way that I'm going to run this version of this bot is I'm basically just going to take this name here, everything before the .pdf, right? TQQQ underscore UPRO. Take that, copy, and that is going to be my live config. Okay, so it basically looks like this. Okay. We have everything filled out. I filled out my API key, my secret, my is paper. In this case, this is for paper trading. If you want to make this with real money, you just simply change this to false. Okay, so is it paper? True. If paper is false, then it's real money. Okay. Then we have our live config. I chose to run this version of it. Market 24/7 so that we can still see trades even when the market's closed. and then our strategy name, which you don't have to change. Okay. That is everything. Once you have filled that in, easy peasy. We only had 3 blanks to fill in. Click save. And then go up to the top here where it says manual deploy. Click on that. And then click on deploy latest commit, right? This is going to basically restart our bot because we've made these changes. We gave it now the API keys and all that stuff. We've given it all that information. Now we want to restart our bot. Click on deploy latest commit. And you'll see that it's going to open up this little log window, right? And it says building, okay? Building, little progress bar. You'll see logs start to pop up. Basically, we need to give it, a minute or two. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to do this. Once it's done, you're going to see this turn green and with a check mark next to it saying it's live. Okay. And that's everything. And then once this thing is done, you'll be able to actually go into your broker. You'll be able to see this thing actually place some trades. All right. That is everything. Okay. Any questions around that? Who here is actually able to get a bot up and running? Right. Again, it's basically 3 steps, right? We want to, number 1, we want to make our brokerage account. Number 2, we want to make our GitHub account. And number 3, we want to click on that deploy to render, right? We're going to take it through all this stuff here. We're going to click on the actual worker itself, fill in our environment variables, click save, redeploy the bot, rerun the bot, and then we're basically just waiting until this thing says it's live. And that is it. When it's finished, you'll see that it actually places some trades, and it will look something like this. The market's not open right now, so we might not see any because I can't sell what I have already. We don't really have any cash to trade with in this account. But if I had some cash to trade with, even if the market was closed, you would actually see some trades go through. So let's see if it places trades, because again, I don't have enough cash in here, but we should be able to see that happen. All right. Any questions around any of that while we wait for this thing to finish up? Tier costs. I'm not sure what you mean by that, CB. The cost with render is $7 a month, right? If you're talking about the costs of our program, our starter pro, yeah, so our different plans, I'm going to get into that in just a second. All right, great question. All right, okay. Actually, might as well get into that now. So while this thing is building, you'll see this thing go. We can return back to this in a second. You'll see it goes live and a check mark. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the next steps. Okay. So let's say you want to sign up with us. Let's talk about that. Right. First of all, actually, really quick next steps. So we have a strategy library. So if you are a subscriber and you want to run any of this stuff, go to this link here, Lumi Wealth Strategies. You can go through all the different strategies that we have. You can see all the back tests, and you can click on them and actually run them, right? So that's one thing, okay? But now let's talk about our different plans, okay? So we have 3 different plans, okay? So let me open this up. Here's our starter plan. I'm going to go over to lumiwealth.com. And load this page up. All right. Once you come to our page, you can scroll through here. There's a lot of stuff that explains kind of how all this works. We show you a couple back tests. You could sign up to our mailing list if you're not already on our mailing list, right? And then, a couple of, how these things are trading live, etc. Right? And if you keep scrolling down, you will see our plans. Here are our 3 different plans: Starter, Pro, and All Access. Okay. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, so we have the 3 different plans, and let me take you through each one of them. Okay. So our starter plan, this one is $1,998 as a sign-up fee, and then $99 per month after that. And with this plan, you're going to get this workshop recording, and you're going to get access to all the other workshops. We have some private workshops, some public workshops. So you have a mixture of them. So you're going to get this workshop recording and all the other workshops we've ever done, right? you're going to get some additional algorithms, right? So you get specifically 5 additional algorithms. You get access to our diversified leverage, a few of our crypto bots, and some things like that. You get access to our trading signals, which is basically what I've been showing you here in our Discord. You can follow our bots. You see what they're trading. If you wanted to, you could actually manually copy them if you're interested in doing that. Or you could also just see how they're doing, right? You get access to our algorithmic trading course. We give you the full course as part of our starter plan. So if you want to learn how to make your own trading algorithms, you can do that through our Algo trading course. We're actually going to be doing an update of this course soon. I'm going to be doing this in a few weeks. There's going to be a brand new version of this course too. So if you sign up to this plan, you get access to that new version as well. We keep you up to date even when we put out new versions. You also get access to our Python for Finance course. So again, if you want to learn how to use Python to analyze financial data and work, and if you work in banking, or if you just want to analyze your investments, you could do that after you've gone through this course. And then you also get to be part of our live algo building sessions, which I've mentioned a few times. It's amazing, amazing stuff. This is one of the best benefits of this, is you get to join us every Tuesday night when we're creating brand new algorithms. So for example, yesterday we were working on this meme trading bot. The week before that, we were working on a futures trading bot. The week before that, we were working on an options trading bot, right? So you could actually join us on Tuesdays, and we do a very democratic process, right? You can come in. If you have a bot that you want to have built, you could bring that up to us, right? And then we take a vote. We vote on what bot do we want to work on today. You get to take part in that vote. Whatever we end up choosing, we end up spending the next couple hours building that out. I'm actually there writing code, myself personally, writing code, building these bots during that session. And by the end of the session, you're going to have code that you can use and actually run stuff, right? With the starter plan, you're going to be able to be part of those sessions. You're not going to be able to get access to all of the code. If you want access to all of the code, you're going to have to be part of the pro plan, right? Okay, and then you also get access to our basic strategy library, which again, I mentioned there's a couple bots that you get with it, right? Okay. If you're interested in this plan, scroll down to our plans here. It's our starter plan. Click on Learn More. When you click on that, you'll see that it takes you to a page that describes exactly what you're going to get with it, right? So you can scroll through here and see everything that we have, right? All the different things and, little examples of what our workshops look like, our strategy library, et cetera, et cetera. You also get access to our community, right? Which we have a very vibrant community on Discord, right? And that's what you're going to get with the starter plan. All right, cool. All right, next up is our pro plan. Okay, now our pro plan, you're going to get everything from the starter plan. So everything I just mentioned, right? You're going to get access to our basic strategy library plus a lot more, right? You're going to get access to our trading signals. You're going to get access to our community. You're going to be part of our Tuesday classes. You can join in. You get access to all that stuff in our starter plan. But on top of that, you're also going to get our full strategy library, right? So everything that we have in GitHub on this strategy library, you're going to get access to all of it with our pro plan. Okay, so that includes our meme trading bots. That includes the stuff we talked about today, the Alpha Pix bots. That includes the Iron Condor trading bot, the EMA spreads, futures trading, all this stuff. You're going to get access to all these different algorithms here with the pro plan, right? So you get access to all the ones that we have on GitHub, right? And everything I've talked about today, plus a heck of a lot more. We have a lot in here. I think we have, again, something like 30 plus different algorithms that you're going to get a part of, right? It's 37 here. Some of these are not public to anyone else. So we have something like 30, maybe 31 algorithms that you're going to get with the pro plan, right? That includes options trading bots. That includes crypto trading bots. That includes stock trading bots. Soon to have, actually, there's actually even futures in here. That's new. We started making futures bots. And again, we plan to start making some Forex trading bots in the future as well. All right. Cool. So that's our pro plan. If you want to get our pro plan, it's $3,998 as the sign up fee, right? And then you're going to pay $199 a month there afterwards, right? And again, if you want to get that, click on Learn More, right? And then when you're in there, there's going to be a button that says Add to Cart, right? So you're going to click on that Add to Cart button, and you're going to be able to purchase this thing, all right? Okay, so that's our pro plan. And last but not least, we also have our all access plan. So our all access plan includes everything from our starter plan, everything from our pro plan, which means you're going to get all of the algorithms that I showed you today. You're going to get access to all of our workshops. You're going to get help actually getting this stuff set up, which comes with the other plans as well. You're going to get access to our courses, our algorithmic trading course, our Python for Finance course. You're going to get access to our trading signals. You get all of that. Plus, you're going to get access to all of our courses, which we have quite a few. We have an algo trading course. We have a course teaching you how to make options trading algorithms. We have a course teaching you how to make AI trading algorithms, crypto trading algorithms, showing you how to do blockchain development. You get all of our courses with our all access plan. Then you also get one-on-one support. So a lot of people will use this. If you have a bot, basically, that you want to build, if there's some idea that you have in mind, with the all access plan, we could actually build that for you, right? We're going to give you, I think it's 2-3 hours per month to actually build these bots out, which is a lot, by the way. With our developers, 2-3 hours, you can actually build a lot. If you ever participate in our Tuesday classes, usually any kind of basic bot will take us maybe 3 hours to build, right? So we could get that done pretty quickly. We'll jump on a call with you. We can actually build out that bot if you're part of our all access plan, right? You're also going to get private coaching sessions every Thursday. And basically you get, everything that we have, the whole shebang, all of our courses, all of our bots, and all the support that we have, right? For this one, it is $9,998 as a sign-up fee, and then it's $399 a month there afterwards, right? And again, if you want to do that, click on Learn More. You're going to see that, and you'll see the add to cart, and you'll be able to go through it that way, right? Okay, so there you go. So those are 3 different plans, but there's more. I told you guys, I promised you that if you stick around, I'm also going to give you guys a coupon code. So here is that coupon code. So if you want to save 25% on the sign-up fee for any of our plans, so meaning if you're signing up to our all access plan, you're getting $2,500 off. If you're signing up to our pro plan, you get $1,000 off. You get 25% off of any of our plans. And this coupon is valid until midnight. Okay, so here's that coupon code. Basically what you're going to do, you're going to take this coupon code. I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to put this into the chat here. Put this into our YouTube chat as well. Okay. And when you click on this, let's say, for example, here, I'm going to click on all access plan. I'm going to add that to cart. I'll go ahead through that. And then you'll see that there is a spot for a coupon code. So I'm going to go here, fill in that coupon code, apply coupon, and you will see that you get, in this case, I have 2, it should be 1. You'll see that I get that 25% off, right? There we go. Okay, so there we go. Coupon code added, $2,500 off this plan, right? So really nice savings. I've instructed my team to make this coupon code go dead at midnight. So if you want to save money, make sure that you sign up before midnight tonight, midnight being Eastern time. We're going to disable this code, and you won't be able to get that discount, right? Okay, cool. So that's our coupon code. That's our plans. That's our algorithms. We've shown you how to actually run these things. Do you guys have any other questions for me? You guys have been quite good at asking questions. What other questions do you guys have? If you have any. And again, for those of you that are on Zoom, feel free to unmute yourselves. You can actually just speak with your voice if that's easier. You could type out into the chat. I'll give you guys a little bit of time to type that out. If you're on YouTube or any of our other channels, feel free to type it out as well. I am checking. So if you're on Facebook watching this or LinkedIn, I'll be watching for you guys as well there. Right? If you do have any other questions after this, you can also, by the way, go to our website. We have this chat icon at the bottom right-hand corner. All right, this is one way that you can get some of your answers. So right there, so click on this down here, boom, and you can actually get in contact with one of our staff, right? Where we monitor this thing almost pretty much the entire day. So if you send out a message here, you can get a response very quickly, right, through chat. Or if you prefer to get on a call, you can go under more, or you can even click here on book a demo, right? More, book a demo, or just click on the book a demo button, right? And that will enable you to actually book a call on one of our staff's calendars, and they can walk you through everything that we talked about here, or if any other questions you have, can go through all that. Or if you're a subscriber and you just need some help getting set up, you could do it this way as well. You can book a demo here, and we can get you all set up. All right. Yusuf says, is there a guarantee to make a profit off the bots? We do not offer guarantees for profit. We do offer guarantees that you're going to be able to actually run a bot. You'll be able to actually get these things up and running, but we unfortunately can't guarantee a profit. I've heard of these other companies that are doing that, and a lot of them are going bankrupt because they've done some very stupid, shady things. I could show you, the profits that we've made. I could show you how my accounts have performed. We can walk you through all that stuff. But we do not offer a guarantee on profit. No, sorry. We do offer other guarantees, though. We do offer guarantees that you'll actually be able to get a bot up and running. We do offer guarantees that you'll actually learn how to do this stuff. But for profits, that is, it's actually illegal, by the way. If you've ever seen that before, that is actually an illegal thing to do. So that is not something that we offer. But you can see how they've actually performed for us. So once we pay the fee, that is separate from the investment amount we choose to invest in bots. Yes, correct. Yeah, so the fee is separate from the actual investment. So the investment, you're going to be dealing with your broker. You're going to be giving them money. That broker is going to handle all your cash. We are not a broker. You're going to give them your money, right? And then you can just link up our bots to actually trade with that. So when you pay our fee, we'll give you access to the code. You'll be able to run that code and execute that bot against the broker. All right. So yes, those are two separate things. Our fees and the investment amount are two separate things. Good questions, Yusuf. Cool. Any other questions, guys? Do you have the broker, or we have to find the broker? We work with a bunch of different partner brokers. So one of them, for example, I took you through today is Alpaca. Right, so that's one broker they could use. Alpaca is one that I recommend. I think they're fantastic. Tradier is another one that we work with. Right, so we have a bunch of partner brokers that we work with, and you would have to work with one of those. Right, so Alpaca is one, Tradier is another, Interactive Brokers is another. If you want to trade crypto, Coinbase is one, Kraken is one, KuCoin is another one. Right, so there's a bunch of different brokers that you can work with. Right, we'll tell you which brokers to go to. We'll help you get all that set up. Right. Okay, no problem, Yusuf. Awesome. Good questions. Cool. Any other questions, guys? This has been fun. It's definitely been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. You guys have very good questions. It's been very nice actually been through this with you guys. Okay, awesome. Well, again, if you have any other questions, you can go to our website. You can click on our chat icon down here, start chatting. You can go to book a demo, actually go through that demo. Or also, if you're getting emails from us, you can also reply to those emails. We also check those as well, right? Okay. Either way, thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for sticking around until the end. Again, coupon code valid until midnight. So if you want to save that 25%, there's your coupon code QMC3JMJS. That will save you 25% on any of our sign-up fees. And if you guys do sign up, I will see you next Tuesday, which is when we do our Tuesday session. So I'll actually see you guys on Tuesday. Or if you need any help in the meantime, we also, I leave my calendar available. So if you need any help, we can jump on calls even before then. All right. Okay. It's a pleasure, guys. I hope you have a great night. Thank you very much for attending. And I hope you guys all have a fantastic night. Have a good one.